Hey, how you doing? I've been listening to a few people talk about it, how the Lions are going to get in the playoffs and what they have to do to get in the playoffs, and almost everybody thinks they have to win outright. So they have to win the last four games and get to 10 wins. I think that they might be able to get in at 9 wins, so they could go 3-1. But fact of the matter is, if they're going to get in the playoffs, they got to win at least three, probably four games to get in there. So if the Lions can win 2 games or 3 games, really, if they don't make the playoffs, you would have to think. I know everyone would be disappointed, but you'd have to think that, wow, this was a year that no one was going to expect. Even right now, I don't think people expected that they were going to go on the win streak that they went on, and that this team won as many games as it has. If they win this week, they'll be 500 in December, mid-December, looking almost at the end of December. So if I would have said to you at the beginning of the season that late in December the Lions could be playing to be a 500 team, everyone would be like, that would be awesome. So the thing is, if they don't make the playoffs, to be honest with you, I don't think too many people had them penciled in to make the playoffs this year. And if you did, congratulations, because I thought that they would have a better season and that they might get close to 500 record, but I didn't think that they would be in a situation where, and it's kind of a long shot that they win the last four games of the season. I think the Jet game's going to be a hard game to win. Playing in Green Bay is going to be hard. But I said in an earlier video that I thought for some reason that game in Green Bay, last game of the season, would mean something. And it looks like it might mean something. If the Lions can win 2 out of 3 of the games preceding that, or 3 games, that Green Bay game might be the game that they need to win to get into the playoffs. And I don't think Green Bay is going to do us any favors by trying to help us out, because they don't like us. And I don't think many people in Detroit like Green Bay. Just like if you're a real Detroit fan, you hate everything Chicago, because I know I do. And all these people, I'm a Piston fan, but I'm a Michael Jordan fan. That's impossible. That's impossible. If you actually lived through the bad boy era and you say you like Michael Jordan, then there's no way possible you're a Piston fan. There's no way. I remember I stopped wearing Nike in the 80s because Michael Jordan was their spokesperson. Because that's how much the people in Detroit absolutely hated Michael Jordan. And when he retired, I don't know if it was the first time or the second time or the third time or how many times he retired, but the one time he was doing the tour and everybody was giving him stuff. And I remember the NBA making coming out with a statement. We would please, if the people in Detroit would not boo him out of the building, we would really appreciate it. So if you're a Michael Jordan fan, you can't be a Piston fan. So we've got Carolina. We got to play. Thing about Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay, they're all going to have, I believe, worse records than we are when we play them. But that doesn't really mean that much when you're playing late in the season. Everybody wants to play spoiler, and everybody wants an opportunity to play an important game. And if it comes down to that, Detroit can get in the playoffs if they beat Green Bay. Green Bay is going to do everything possible to make sure that doesn't happen, especially in the frozen tundra. And I think that our little friend there, Mr. Rogers, is going to be a little pissed because the last time he played Detroit, he didn't play very well. And I think he's probably thinking that he'd like one more kick at the can. And I think it's going to be tough for them to go undefeated for the rest of the season. It's just, I don't know. You know what? I think if Sheila hadn't come out and said that Dan Campbell's job was safe and he was definitely coming back for next season, and it was a thing like Ford said, her father said, but Wayne Fodds, if they don't make the playoffs, we're firing them. And they won like the last 5 or 6 games of the season to save his job. And I remember them asking him in the press conference, well, are you going to fire the coach? He said, well, I can't fire the coach. I told them if they made the playoffs, I wouldn't fire the coach. And Dan Campbell's coming back next year. So, I mean, for them to make the playoffs would be nice. But it's not going to help this team out, really. It'll be good for them to have, get some of these young guys some meaningful games and for them to start having a winning attitude. But fact of the matter is, the greatest thing that happened to this team this year is that the LA Rams has pretty much gone to shit, and that their draft pick is probably going to be a top 5 draft pick. And our draft pick's going to be a lot higher than that because Lions have played so well. They played themselves probably out of a top 10 draft pick, and I'm fine with that. You're going to win sooner or later. You can't suck and be every year, well, we're going to get a good draft pick. Well, at some point, these draft picks have to come to fruition. They have to start playing. You just can't have a whole team full of great draft picks and nobody plays. And, they need help still on that defense. I don't care what anybody says. If they take a quarterback first-round pick, that's stupid. Have a guy that's going to sit when you can get a guy in the 3rd round that can come in and back up golf for a year, and then you make that decision who's going to be your quarterback 2 years from now. I just think that if they could get 2 or 3 good guys in that can come in and play in the defense, their defense would be so sweet next year. And that's what they need. If they had a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense, this team would be going to playoffs for sure next year. And there'd be talk about them making a run in the playoffs. They've already said nobody wants to play the Lions in the playoffs because anything can happen with the way their offense is. So, good things are happening in Lions land. It's one pride always, and I hope so much that they would win the rest of the way out. It would be just nice for us as Lions fans to say, yeah, you know what, our team doesn't suck anymore. And we could tell Green Bay we'd beat them twice, we'd beat Chicago twice, and that would be awesome. We should have beat Minnesota twice, and the Lions are on the upswing, and that's nice to finally. Now, if we could just get the Tigers to sign somebody who's half decently good, maybe all the sports teams can have some hope. Jacob Ferran's coming back for the Red Wings. I'm so happy. Jacob Ferran is the best player that the Detroit Red Wings have. You go look at the stats of how many points he's got with the amount of games he's played in Detroit, and he's your Yzerman. Dylan Larkin might be your Fedorov. So if they can both start playing at the same time, maybe this team can start winning a lot of games. So let's hope. So all right. God bless. Have a good weekend, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus, and any other holiday that you have. Happy holidays. God bless.